in today's video, as you can see, yes, it is a soft-spoken video, which some of you really hate, apparently, and some of you do like, so, I don't know, it's been a while since I've done a soft-spoken video, so I thought I would do one. So, more importantly in today's video, though, we're going to be doing the first ever power rankings so far this year, going into the 2021-2022 NBA season, so make sure to maybe check out your favorite team, maybe your opinions on where these guys are placed, and just, I guess, sit back and relax and see what happens, I guess. Also, make sure you do like the video. If you do like the video, subscribe to the channel. Obviously, I think we're like 100 subscribers away or something like that from 8,000, which, that's so crazy, super close to 10K. It's very exciting. Make sure you also, again, comment down below how your favorite team's doing. Maybe just some things you can point out about how the NBA season is going so far. And yeah, make sure to check out last night's video. And let us get started. And for the dead last team in the NBA for this first power rankings, number 30. You can probably guess who it is. It's the Detroit Pistons. Yeah, the Detroit Pistons right now are apparently the worst team in the NBA. They're 0-4. I think they have their first game on today as I'm recording this video, and yeah, that's pretty rough. I'm not sure if Cade Cunningham has even made his debut yet, which probably could sort of be telling on maybe why the Detroit Pistons haven't won a game yet. But even if Cade does play, I don't know if that's really gonna change a whole lot. Maybe they win a game or two here and there, but man, Detroit. I mean, if Detroit gets another, first pick out of this year, that's definitely a big dub for the Pistons. But you definitely don't want to have to take this entire season. You really want to have Cade Cunningham to have a lot of good, learning experiences, winning games, and things like that. Really want to mold him in the right way. And losing a lot of games in his first year is probably not going to be the best way to do it. So, at number 29, we have the Orlando Magic. Really, really sucks to see that right now. The Magic are 1-4. Definitely interesting about the Magic is that they have two starters out still. Markelle Fultz, Jonathan Isaac. Still very rough going on over there for Orlando. I hope they really start to figure it out. And I feel like they will be one of those teams that just randomly throughout the year is just gonna go on like a 5, 6, 7 game win streak. I feel like they have that type of potential and play style, but it's probably not going to be anytime soon. At number 28 are the Houston Rockets. So you have Cade, you have Jalen, you have Jalen Green. That's really funny. The Houston Rockets at number 28. Man, that's pretty rough. The Rockets definitely aren't, are the Rockets the worst team in the NBA? I don't know. I don't know if I would really say they're the worst team, but Houston's definitely pretty rough because their best player is arguably a rookie, even though Christian Wood is a really good player. But right now, the Houston Rockets are 1-4 as well. They've lost 3 games in a row, though, so I don't know how well you can take that into account. But again, same thing for the Magic, same thing for the Pistons even. You gotta develop your rookie. You have to develop the rookie you're drafting. And speaking of the Oklahoma City Thunder, they are number 27, which is pretty funny because we were just talking about them. And no, I don't think they are the worst team in the NBA. I think they're actually in a pretty decent spot right now in their rebuilding phase. But yeah, they're definitely not doing so hot either. They are right now 1-4, but they have been very competitive in a lot of these sort of other games, so not too weird to see them like there. But also, I feel like throughout the year, kind of like the Magic, they'll go on a good run, and we'll see what happens because they are just such a scrappy team. I feel like they're going to be competing in a lot of these other games. So, Thunder 27th, but definitely need to see where they're going, I guess. The Pelicans, oh my goodness, the Pelicans are number 26. That's crazy. That's way too low for a team that has two all-star caliber players in Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. That is insane. That's super crazy. Right now, the Pelicans are 1-4, being tied for being the bottom of the barrel of the West. Holy cow, that's crazy. I mean, they just need Zion to get healthy. You just need to hope that Zion can come back and look healthy, because if he comes back, oh man, he just looks like bigger, and you know, it's not going to be good for the Pelicans or even Zion at all. You know, they could be a 14 seed, a 13 seed. This could be a pretty rough year, and then again, that conversation of will Zion stay comes back into play. At number 25, we have the San Antonio Spurs, which I wish they were lower on this list, because again, I hope if you are also a Spurs fan, which I'm not, you want them to be close to the bottom of the barrel so far, and not only the West standings, but the NBA standings, because you're trying to get a top pick, at least in my opinion. Right now, they're doing a pretty good job of that, at being 1-4, losing 4 games in a row as the recording of this video. That's really good, honestly. They did have that pretty crazy game against against the LA Lakers, which was a very competitive game, which is really cool to see. And I like the fact that they can be competitive. I just don't want them to win those games. You can try, you can be competitive for the entire game, just at least try and lose, please. Because, you know, Jakob Poeltl, DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Kendall Johnson, like those are really good building pieces. But they just need to have the guy. They need to find their next Tim Duncan, Kawhi Leonard type of person. Hopefully they can find it sometime very soon in one of these upcoming drafts. 24. We have the Indiana Pacers at 24. Whoa. That's very low for the Pacers. Right now, Indiana is also 1-4, so that's probably why. But I think we also know the talent of Indiana is, you know, more than that. Obviously, being extremely hurt this year so far already, with Karis LeVert and T.J. Warren not being able to play. Domantas Sabonis kind of having a rough start, and even Malcolm Brogdon as well. And then there's also always the trade conversation of Miles Turner, which is kind of funny to always talk about. But their next opponent, at least according to this video, is going to be the Brooklyn Nets, which definitely going to be interesting to see how well they can go up against sort of, you know, a top tier team, because so far this year they've beaten Miami, which is really cool to see. But there's also they've lost to Washington and Toronto, so like they are a competitive team. I think they will get better over time, especially with health, and also having a new head coach. But man, they definitely are not off to a good start. At number 23, we have the Toronto Raptors, which doesn't really surprise me at all. Of course, with the Raptors having a young rookie trying to get him adjusted to the NBA game, doesn't surprise me. They are right now the 10th seeded team in the East, so definitely already a play-in seeded team. Obviously, only 5 games into the season, but I wonder why they're so low, because there are a couple of other worse situation teams right now in the NBA, but that's kind of interesting. They rank them kind of low still. But obviously with having Fred VanVleet and, you know, Pascal Siakam, Goran Dragic, then you also have these other players of like Gary Trent Jr. and Scotty Barnes. It's weird to see what they're doing with their franchise, and I hope they, you know, make some trades, get assets, start the rebuild process off to a really good start. But I don't think they're going to do that. My opinion is they're probably just going to try this season, see what happens, maybe make a plan, maybe upset a team here and there. I don't know, but man, I really hope that the Raptors stick to this rebuild they're going through, because Scotty Barnes is a really good piece. He's just still not the player you can really go and play through and build a franchise around. At number 22 is a team actually with a worse record than the Raptors. It's the LA Clippers. Holy cow. The Clippers right now are 1-3. I think they play tonight as I'm recording this video against Portland, which is the only team they've actually beaten so far this year. It's really weird to try to think of a spot to put the Clippers because they are such a very well-built team, but obviously without having that superstar, even though they have Paul George, but that superstar in Kawhi Leonard, you know, they're a team that can lose against, I don't know, one of the bottom feeders of the NBA, but they can also go out and upset, you know, a championship caliber team. It's really weird where to put these guys. And then of course when the playoffs come around, you plop in a healthy Kawhi Leonard, and it's a completely different ball game about where the Clippers are and where to rank them. 21, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. Wait a second, yeah. The Cleveland Cavaliers over the Clippers. Well, that's because right now, obviously only 5 games in the NBA season, they're 3-2. They have the best record of everyone we've talked about so far in this video. That's pretty crazy to think about. They are 6th right now in the NBA standings, which again doesn't really mean a lot, but means something, especially if you're a young team like Cleveland, still going through the rebuild, not really knowing what direction your team is going in with, you know, having Mobley and Allen, and also having Lauri Markkanen, but then you have this guard sort of problem, I guess, with Colin Sexton and what you're going to do with him. It's pretty crazy over there in Cleveland, but they're getting the job done. They definitely have a lot of depth on that team. That's something you can really applaud them on, but not really a team set yet, which is kind of concerning if you're probably a Cleveland Cavalier fan, but it's improvement. They've been a rebuild since LeBron's left. I think it's about time they're about somewhat relevant in the NBA, I guess. And I low-key had to make an edit right there because I made a kind of a loud noise when I saw this, but 20th right now in the NBA are the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns are 1 spot above the Cleveland Cavaliers so far in the power rankings. That is absolutely insane. They dropped from the start of the season being number 5 all the way to 20th. Holy cow. That's pretty crazy. Right now the Phoenix Suns are 1-3, and of course they've had somewhat of a rough start, but I feel like that is just them coming off an NBA Finals run, not really having a lot of off time, and then Devin Booker going on and playing in the Olympics that summer as well, never really having a stop. And I feel like Phoenix, not only the fans but also the team, are starting to feel how hard it is to win in the NBA for so long. The fatigue really gets to you. Obviously, of course, another team we're going to be talking about is somewhat feeling that fatigue. You can sort of see that, but Phoenix, man, it's really hitting hard for them. Will they bounce back though? Absolutely. They're going to be a playoff team, a good team. They're still going to be very competitive in the NBA, but wow. At 19th, and actually maybe one of my more surprise teams this year from seeing how they're playing, it's the Sacramento Kings at 19th. They are actually looking like a very competitive team so far this year in the NBA, which makes me very excited because y'all know De'Aaron Fox, one of my favorite players. Sacramento, one of my favorite teams. I've been to a Sacramento Kings game before in Sacramento before. Really interested to see the team finally starting to come together now. Are they still like a piece or 2 or 3 away? Absolutely, to being, you know, true playoff contenders, you know, really establishing themselves. But I think as of right now, I wouldn't see a really big sort of surprise of them being, you know, an 8 seed, a 9 seed, a 10 seed, making a play-in game this year. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Do I think this will carry on? I think to some level. Again, they're going to be dropping a couple spots here and there, but it wouldn't surprise me if they are an 8 seed, a 10 seed, a play-in game here and there away. Even if they win their play-in games, I think they're not done yet with making moves either. Hopefully they get a good trade for Bagley, make it a role rotation player, that'd be really beneficial. See where this goes, I guess. Try to make a push at the end of the year. This year would be really cool to see. 18th, we have the Boston Celtics, and again, the Boston Celtics off to not a terrible start, but definitely something to learn from, I guess. Right now, they are 2-3. They've lost some close games that they probably should have won, and they've also just seemed to be pretty much the same team they were last year, which is pretty sad. They've lost, obviously, the season opener against the Knicks, which was a really good game, and the Knicks are the Knicks, you know, they're good now. But they did lose also to Toronto and Washington, which is pretty rough. If I'm being completely honest, Boston, maybe besides the Knicks game, should be maybe close to being undefeated. They've only gone up against Toronto, Houston, Charlotte, and Washington. And they've played, you know, I don't know. I feel like they should be way closer. The next game is against the Wizards. Hopefully they win that game. They just lost against the Wizards though, so they're still a young team, new head coach, not as deep as they used to be, so hopefully they start to pick it up and figure it out, because as of right now, you know, it might be another play-in series for the Boston Celtics being, you know, a 9th or 10th seed or something like that. And when talking about very confusing teams and not knowing where to put them, at 17 we have the Portland Trail Blazers, which definitely makes a lot of sense. Portland, as of right now, are, what are they? They're 2-2. So at 500, they play tonight against the Clippers as I'm recording this video, and man, I have no idea what's going on with Dame. Obviously, that's kind of like the biggest sort of thing to take away so far early on in this NBA season. Lillard's only averaging about like 17, 18 points per game so far this season. When, and I'm hopefully saying when, I'm knocking on wood because I'm hoping when Damian Lillard finally returns to that sort of mid-season form, the team is going to look really, really, really good. But obviously already losing to a Clipper team without Kawhi, also losing to the Sacramento Kings so far this year. It's kind of weird to put Portland in a spot because they've also beaten the Phoenix Suns. So, I don't know. Portland's fine. They're going to be okay. They just, Damian is just not in a good spot right now. Number 16, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I will agree about that because the Timberwolves right now are 3-1 so far in this NBA season. Y'all know D'Lo, one of my favorite players. Same thing with Karl Anthony Towns, and it's really cool to see them get off to a really good start because, man, I feel like every year, you know, Karl Anthony Towns is a potential all-star. They have D'Angelo Russell now, new exciting rookie, and Anthony Edwards. Now, again, knocking on wood, for some health is really all they need. And now that the team is, you know, somewhat fully healthy, they're starting to make a little splash in the NBA, which is really cool. At 15, we have the Dallas Mavericks, which is definitely a team I haven't really heard a lot from recently, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. They're 3-1 right now, and obviously Luka Doncic, being Luka Doncic, is still going to be one of the most, I guess, talked about players in the NBA. So far this season, he's averaging 24 points, 9 rebounds, about 8 assists, so still very good numbers. But again, still a team trying to just get into that season form, kind of like Portland and a lot of other teams. Wait till about midway through the season, this team's going to look even better and even better and even better. But yeah, I mean, unless you're probably like a Dallas Mavericks fan, you probably haven't heard a lot about Dallas so far this season, which I know I haven't, which I think is a good thing. I think lowering the expectation for not only the Dallas Mavericks as being some sort of like sleeper championship team to Luka Doncic and letting him just play his game and not always trying to make Luka out to be the next LeBron James. We have the Wizards at 14th. That's gonna fall very soon, I feel. The Wizards are playing very, very, very good so far this season because they're a really deep team. They have, you know, 3 starting caliber players out of that one Russell Westbrook trade, and then you have Bradley Beal and Rui Hachimura, that team is very deep right now. They are actually 4th in the Eastern Conference, being 4-1. I think they might be the best record team we've talked about so far in this video. But again, they are the Washington Wizards, and that's gonna fall probably somewhat very soon. But don't be surprised if they do make, a play-in game, maybe even upset a team in the play-in. Don't be surprised. At 13 is another one of my surprise teams so far this year. It's the Memphis Grizzlies, and right now, I think Ja Morant might have an MVP name in the hat, and that's pretty exciting to think about. Ja Morant right now is averaging almost 30 points per game, a bunch of rebounds, a bunch of assists. He's been balling out so far in the NBA season. It's really cool to see. Right now they are 3-2, just recently losing to Portland, and man, Ja Morant looks really good. And obviously with Dylan Brooks being out, and also Jaren, it's still not looking like the Jaren Jackson Jr. pre-injury, which I hope and I think when that does change, and then also Dylan Brooks is back. Again, same thing with Minnesota, same thing with Sacramento. Don't be surprised if these guys are really battling for these spots instead of just barely making into a play-in. These guys might be setting themselves up for a 6 seed, a 7 seed, I don't know. But it's starting to look really good over there in Memphis, especially with the play of Ja Morant. At 12, we have the LA Lakers at 12. Holy cow, that's pretty wild. Right now, the Lakers are 2-3, which, again, maybe off to the roughest start so far this year for any NBA team. Again, losing to the Thunder and just really struggling to pull out these wins. It's kind of hard to see. But it's not also that, it's also the fact that LeBron is already sitting because of injury. And then you have Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis trying to take over, and it's not clicking, it's not snapping together like, at least what I thought, and a lot of other sort of believers thought it would have clicked for this team. Now, of course, that's going to change, and they're still, a title favorite right now. Their odds are plus 500, so they're still looking really good, but I don't know, they're just a team where it's just, obviously it's very early, but kind of concerning to think about that when LeBron's already hurt, not sure what to do with Westbrook. Are they going to have to trade Westbrook? Hopefully Anthony Davis can be, again, still trying to look for 2020 Anthony Davis again, because I have no idea where that guy went. And then at number 11, another sort of maybe title contender, it's the Philadelphia 76ers at number 11. I feel like they will be around that sort of area until the Ben Simmons trade happens, which, again, hopefully it does happen sometime this year, because, again, Daryl Morey said that it could take years for this to be done and over with. So, I mean, if that's the case, then I guess strap on in. I mean, if Ben Simmons can play for the Sixers, that would be obviously very beneficial, but it will never be completely just done and over with, you know what I mean? This is something you can't just bury after a month or two, So, whoa. Number 10, we have the Brooklyn Nets at 10. Holy cow. Their title odds so far being the highest, plus 250, but barely being the top 10 in the power rankings. That's pretty wild, not gonna lie. The Nets right now are 2-3. They're 12th in the NBA Eastern Conference standings, which is super crazy to think about, but of course they don't have Kyrie, and same thing with the 76ers. Until Kyrie plays or the situation gets handled, they will never be in sort of that same sort of space again, because of course Kevin Durant and James Harden is a great duo. Harden as well has never looked the same since before the playoffs, or I guess before his injury. He's averaging 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists, which is really good for an NBA player. But the fact that it's James Harden And also James Harden without Kyrie, he should be averaging like 28 points per game. And same thing with Kevin Durant. They need to, you feel like they'd pick up the pace a little bit, but it seems like they're really holding back a lot. Maybe just trying to stay healthy. I don't know, but you don't want to, put your foot off the gas too much, because then teams catch up and then you're finding yourselves as a 6 seed, or maybe, God forbid, having to go into the play-in series. Number 9, you have the Denver Nuggets. Denver's looking really good right now, especially if and when Jamal Murray comes back. This team might be, a favorite when that does happen. Obviously there's Utah and Phoenix will figure it out, and obviously the Lakers will probably figure it out too, but Denver, when fully healthy, are going to be extremely competitive in the West. I'm very excited to see that. Already ranked above a handful of other teams. Pretty interesting. At number 8, and maybe not one, but the surprise team so far in the NBA, it's the Charlotte Hornets. That's pretty wild. Charlotte right now are 4-1, tied for first place in the Eastern Conference. It's pretty wild. Mostly due to the fact that not only LaMelo Ball is playing obviously the best basketball of his career, but also Miles Bridges, which, if you did take a look into my hot take video last night, you would know some people are picking for a sleeper pick to be an all-star this year, which is super crazy. Again, like a lot of these other teams, like, again, Washington is technically tied for the number 1 spot in the East. That will level out throughout the season. They will level out as well, but they're still going to be maybe competing for home court advantage this year. I don't know. It really comes down to, obviously, the play of LaMelo Ball, which is always going to be extremely top tier, but the others, when Terry Rozier comes back, can Miles Bridges keep this up? How well the other players can get readjusted around that? It's pretty important, but already being 8th in the power rankings, pretty exciting for the first 5 games of the NBA season, I would say. 7, we have the Chicago Bulls, who used to be undefeated, but now are 4-1. Might also be one of the more surprised teams so far in the NBA. Not for me, because I knew they'd be good, but not this good. Obviously off to a super hot start. But again, a lot of people didn't even have them in the playoff race, which is super crazy. But their title odds are plus 4,800, which is still pretty crazy. And I don't think they are a true title contender just yet. But man, think about a year from now, 2 years from now, when Levine and Lonzo and Vucevic, and maybe they add in another piece after DeMar DeRozan is gone. That's pretty terrifying. If they just add to the really good core depth of this team, that team's going to be very terrifying in the next couple years to come. 6, we have the New York Knicks, who technically are the number 1 seed in the East. I don't know what makes them number 1, but right now they're number 1. So congratulations to the Knicks fans out there. Yeah, Julius Randle is playing like an MVP candidate right now. I looked at it again my last video, and this dude might be top 5 in MVP voting by the end of the year. Again, if he keeps this up, he's averaging like 25 points, 11 rebounds, like 5 or 6 assists. He's looking pretty dominant. Again, they will also be a team that I think will level out throughout the year, but they will be. It looks like they're going to be competing for home court advantage. I mean, RJ is finally taking a big step, and Kemba is looking pretty more comfortable every single game he plays. Derrick Rose looks like he hasn't aged in like 3 or 4 years. He's looking really good. So my only concern about New York was, obviously not really having a superstar like dynamic duo, but it looks like just Julius Randle and whoever steps up that night, whether it's Kemba or Derrick Rose or RJ Barrett, that team is super competitive, and I really love to see it. So 5, Golden State, arguably maybe the best looking Western Conference team so far this year, being 4-1, beating the Lakers. They've struggled a little bit, obviously, but that's just mostly because they have Steph Curry, and after Curry they still don't have Clay. Draymond is never going to be Draymond ever again, so, you know, they have to pretty much pray for Jordan Poole to step up, and he has. I think he's still the runner for most improved player, which is really cool to see, but, man, they're 4-1, they're the second team in the West right now. This is something that will continue on, and you just gotta cross your fingers and hope that Klay Thompson is in the gym getting ready, because when he hits the floor, the Warriors need to take off and really get into that playoff mode. At number 4, we have the Atlanta Hawks. Of course, the Hawks always going to be a really good team. Right now, their title odds, though, are plus 3,600, which seem kind of low for me. I feel like they'd be more of a contender, but still a super young team. Are they a true contender? I don't know. They looked really good last year, obviously, but that was like their hot start to the playoffs. And you just gotta hope they can rekindle that this year as well. It seems like they're still playing very well together, which is really fun to see, and they play a very fun brand of basketball. But man, you just gotta hope they can kick it up again during the end of the year. At number 3, we have the Milwaukee Bucks, and of course, the Bucks right now might be my pick so far for maybe looking pretty good. I mean, of course, they've already been hurt with injury. Drew Holiday was hurt the first game of the NBA season, and right now, the Bucks are 3-2. They're the 8th seed right now in the Eastern Conference, which again, very early on in the NBA season. But I still think they might be the title favorite again. They look extremely good. Right now, they are plus 800, which again, the Nets were plus 500, so they're still there. But again, with not having Drew Holiday so early on in the season, hopefully can help out with the bench players and the bench play, and having guys get more adjusted to this newish team to compare to last year's championship winning team. I still think they're in a very good spot. They're just injury bug plus very early to tell, I guess you could say, being the 8th seed. Number 2, we have the Miami Heat, which I think I said at the beginning of the year might be my dark horse team, which I don't know if you can really call them a dark horse team, but they might be my dark horse title winning team this year. If Bam and Jimmy, and my God, if Tyler Hero can continue playing like he has been, averaging 20 plus points per game, being more of a ball facilitator, being more of a sort of a combo guard, point guard, which is really amazing to see, maybe winning 6th man of the year. This team might be very scary to play, especially in the playoffs. Now, of course, we said that last year, so way too early to tell, but they look extremely good. And also being 3-1 right now, again, you know, a team like the Nets, they might be the odd man out when looking at home court advantage so far in the playoff run. I'm not saying they are, but they might find themselves as a 5 seed, a 6 seed. Really need to figure out that Kyrie Irving situation, I feel. But as of right now, 5 games into the NBA season, the Utah Jazz are ranked the number 1 team in the NBA. Title odds still being plus 1,100, being sort of maybe the hottest start to the NBA season, also being undefeated 4-0 as of the recording of this video. I think they do play today. Well, they don't. They play Saturday. They play tomorrow. They played the Chicago Bulls on Saturday. Make sure to watch that game because I definitely am. But yeah, when Donovan Mitchell is healthy for this team, and Rudy Gobert is finally starting to become more of a two-way player, not just a defensive guy who does putbacks every once in a while, this team is very dangerous. And again, sort of like with the Miami Heat in the East, the Utah Jazz can be that team where they just upset everyone and somehow make a finals run. Obviously, health, again, knocking on wood, needs to come into play because Donovan Mitchell needs to be that guy for this team, and it looks like he can be. He's just been really hurt with injury at the worst case scenarios. That obviously needs to change, but the Utah Jazz, as of right now, week 1, I guess, the number 1 team in the NBA. So let me know what you guys think about where these guys are being kept so far in the power rankings. Obviously, super early on, but super interesting. I think. So, thank you guys so much for